is something really, Al, you really wrote an entire report on what you felt was the death of the real estate team. And we're going to unpack this bad boy today because it is, I mean, we spent some time this morning just really going through and laying out the agenda for this call on, and I think we're going to leave some big takeaways as to, for people that have teams, specifically those of you who have teams or maybe you're independent or trying to build a team, and some of the struggles and challenges that we've all faced over the years and years in doing this. And, you know, it doesn't matter whether you're brand, if you're an agent that's getting to that point where you're bringing on agents and starting to build a team, or like you've been sold the dream of building the team, you definitely want to listen to this, and you want to listen twice as hard, because you're what you can't see around the corner is what we've all experienced in a number of different circumstances, whether it's our own teams. Me and John been coaching, teams for years and years and years that are all doing $1 million, $2 million, $5 million. And Al built a massive team as well, and has gone through some of these same struggles. So we've all been around it and really experienced it at every possible angle. So pay attention. If you have a team and you're gonna find yourself shaking your head. Oh yes, that's exactly what it feels like right now. How do I fix that? Right. So I think there's going to be some good ahas and takeaways, and really, I think we're going to reshape your thinking about what the future of real estate looks like as it relates to teams. And so, Al, I think, telling your story to me is probably the right way to start this. I mean, you went from 9 agents, right, to how many now do you have?
36. 36
agents. So you went from 9 agents to 36 agents on your team. And
correct.
To me, if this was the way I looked at it in the past, I would say you done lost your damn mind.
Right.
And it has to be, it's got to be so horrible to deal with on a daily basis, but that's not the case. And I think that's really what we'll showcase through talking through this story and going through kind of the process that we kind of laid out. So
yeah,
ahead, the floor is all yours, man.
Oh, I mean, this all started out of frustration, obviously, from the title. I started just writing this white paper, which I don't know. I'm assuming that down the line we're gonna we'll polish it up a little bit and actually make this report that I wrote, which is very controversial, but it's very true. There's no bullshit in this report that I wrote. It's straight up, and the reason that I know that it's not just me is because our mastermind and every other mastermind I've belonged to all shares the same struggles. And we like to talk about the things that, I don't want to say that aren't solving our problems, but there's a few topics that we always seem to leave out, and it's the elephant in the room, And so I address all those. I dug into, why your best agents always leave you, hiring your first agent, stepping out of production, and how that can affect your bottom line and even kill you, i.e. the death of the real estate team, going from a brand to an independent, and what challenges are there, and just straight up building the team and the business model of building the team that everybody thinks that they want until they find themselves writing their company a check so you can make payroll. So I'm going to get raw, real. I'm going to keep my coat on, but other than that, I'm going to get naked on this call and really just, lay it out. Because, look, I got nothing to hide. I'm an open book. Anyone who tells you that they don't have these similar challenges with their team model is probably lying. Unless, of course, they've gotten past the chasm and made the decision that, they have a recruiting model. And, of course, if they've done that, then there are definitely teams out there that or if you're a team leader, you're still in production, you may not be feeling any of these pains, but they're being masked by the fact that you're out hustling, which is fine. But we're gonna dig into that real deep.
Yeah, and again, with every situation, there's always some exceptions. So it's not like this is it's the highest probability that everything we're telling you is a fact that I've ever seen, probably. But there are going to be some exceptions and some things that people have done to try to to somewhat correct the model. But and all in all, this isn't an individual you problem. It is a business model problem. At the foundation, right. It's the business model that's the problem. And I think we're going to unpack that for folks today in a way that'll maybe click in ways that you maybe not thought about it before. So
yeah.
Let's talk through the problem. Okay. What is the problem? Why do, and I'm going to take the first problem that I would say is that we lose our best agents over time. The longer you have an agent working for you over time, there becomes a point that agent is probably going to leave you, or you go to bed at night thinking about that agent's probably going to leave me. Why is that? What are some of the reasons there that we run into agents leaving us in our team model?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there's several reasons, and I can only speak to my own. Usually, it's I think we could point at one thing, and it's a leadership is one of the reasons. The other reason is I believe it's a business model, and we're going to talk about that part because as far as developing leaders, you could have the best leader. And I'm not tooting our horn. Look, we get better. We look in the mirror 100-0 every day and look at the ways we can get better as leaders. That's just how we're built. It's how we're wired. That's why I believe that we became such good friends with John. And we're willing to get real with ourselves and improve as leaders. So I'm not saying that we're perfect, but I'm saying that we work on that. Like, that's a daily thing that since I've met you, we've grown to be good leaders. I think that I'll just say that I believe we're good leaders. So if there's a check in that box and we really do.
See you later. There he is.
No. Someone's trying to call me.
Oh,
unreal.
Yeah.
One of the things that if we have a check in that box, the thing that you look at is you could have an amazing leader with a bad business model.
Right.
And you could have this attrition. You could lose people. I had my best year. Our team did the revenue on our team with 12 agents. Only 12 agents was $1.6 million in 2016. About 4 months after that, I had two of my top 3 agents walk out the door, not because they were miserable with me or anything. It was the business model had no more opportunity for them. They took 2 more agents with them for a total of about $400,000 in revenue annually. Just went walking out the door. And I'm talking about company revenue. Now, that's a hit for a small business, at least for us. And,
that'll put you back in the business.
And that's exactly what it did. It put me right back out there. I was selling some listings. And I also, on top of that, and I told you I was going to get real on this call, Jay, I also had to write a check for $25,000 out of my own bank account to make sure that our payroll cleared. These are the things that nobody wants to talk about when they're flashing their numbers up saying, I sold 200, 300, 400, 500 homes.
400 houses.
Yeah. You can't. This is the words of Jake Kinder. You can't deposit 500 home sales in the bank.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I got lots of awards that you can have. They have no value. I would try to sell them on eBay. Nobody's bought them. So.
I tried to drive my trophies over next door to PNC Bank, and they wouldn't take them.
Right. So yeah, and we laugh and joke about it because we've had to write those checks, me included. The reality is. And let me tell you what this is like if you haven't experienced. If you've experienced it, you definitely know what we're talking about. But it's like being let out of jail. Like, it's like being let out of jail when you don't have to go – when you're out of the business and then you got to go back in and write a check. That's worse than going back to prison. There's nothing on the – that's like you got let out of jail for a week and they're like, all right, sorry, you got to go back now. And, and this time we're going to have to – we're going to have you write us a check, for staying as well. What the F? It just happened. Right. And that's, again, you think you're doing things right. And you think, well, it's the culture and it's this and that. No, it's a misalignment in compensation. And it's real simple. There's a handful of things that compound that get to a point where somebody's going to leave. And my belief is this, that an agent that's been on your team 3, 4, 6 years, it starts to get repeat and referral business from business that you gave them. They didn't come to you doing 3 deals a month on their own. We know that. They came to you doing 9 out of 10 deals that you gave them for the first 3 or 4 years probably.
Have you ever hired an agent, Jay, who came on your team already doing 3-4 deals a month?
No, not on a 50-50 split because they would be – why would they, right? I mean, if they
right.
3 deals
that's
on
the point.
Right, and we don't we tend to not think about this, right? Like we're trying to get our agents to do 3 deals a month. we've never hired an agent that does 3 deals a month. We've only hired agents that we can help get to that. But when they start doing 2 or 3 deals a month on their own, and they're not having to bang the phones and call leads and get the whip cracked on them every day about, the leads that you've been giving them, they start to see that maybe the pasture is greener on the other side. And not to say that it is, because for a lot of agents, it isn't. And like, they have no business going out on their own. And many times you look in the MLS, they go out on their own and they don't do better and they do worse. And that's an actual truth, that maybe they shouldn't be going out on their own. But the reality is that there's still this huge pull for them to do it, because there's enough business that they're doing that if they will on 100%, they don't have to go out and do their own thing. You know what I'm saying? So
why don't we go over some of those reasons why the best agents will always leave you?
Right. So they think you said this morning. They think you're getting rich. They think you're sitting back collecting all the Benji. They have no idea what the margins are in the company.
Right.
They have no opportunity other than sell more houses. You haven't painted a vision for them to be able to accomplish more of their dreams. Right. There's no alignment there. What do you want? Okay, you want to make 250? Oh, you want to make 300,000? Let's see how many houses you have to sell. Okay, you're gonna have to put 28 buyers in a week in your car in order for you to get to that goal. Like that's one way to get there, but and I think we're gonna unpack. Hopefully, we're gonna unpack what the real opportunity is at EXP, because I think this is the only place that I've seen that you can execute the way to solve this problem. But the average agent, only typically closes on average. Once you get 3 agents, it's 1.5 deals a month. If you're a rock star and you get them up to 2, I think, John, we focused on it for a year and we got our average to 2.2 deals per month. Is that right?
And it was hard. It was heavy, man. It was every night holding them accountable, man.
You were looming over them every minute of the day. Well, where are your numbers? Yeah. Oh, where are you at? What are your goals? Like, I mean, it was that, not sustainable if you want to be happy in your life, right? I mean, that's not something you would sign up for every day, right? And them either, right? So, and then, you're always recruiting. You should be always recruiting. And when you start, when that's your business model and you're giving people leads and deals, they start to get jealous, especially your very first one, because your first agent that you bring on, that you give all the buyer deals, they do really well. What did you call them, Al? It was funny.
They're the spoiled only child. Your first agent, the spoiled only child.
Right. They're like, this is easy. Give me
right.
Oh, that's
another sitter.
And then you run an ad to hire some more agents, and then what happens? They're like, "What you hiring people for? What am I not doing a good enough job?" We're like, "No, because I need to get more production out of And what happens when you take a week off? And as you start to grow it, the average just becomes 1.5 times. John, is that what is that an accurate number still? 1.5 deals on average?
Yeah, I mean, too, you also take into consideration market conditions. I mean, your higher price point markets, that number drops a little bit, but kind of where Al's at and what we've seen, that really is. I mean, that's kind of the average number that you want to base your assumptions on.
Right. And I want to just make a distinction here for anybody who has a small team that plans on staying in production. That is a good idea. Okay. So I'm not telling you to, that not to grow a big team if that's really, really what you want to do. But our goal of this call is just to make you aware, both eyes open, and make sure you know what you're getting into, because it could be a very lucrative business model. There might be people watching right now that have 20, 30, 40 agents on their team and have crossed that chasm and have been able to make it past it. But that's kind of where we're going to go with this.
Right.
If not, if you're going to step out of the production and run a business like a business, but if you're going to stay in production and have a nice, tight, small team with an assistant and a couple agents, you could be massively profitable, have a great business. That's not what we're talking about when we're talking about this, okay? Because, what we're talking about is being able to scale that team to the next level, if you will. If your goal is to step out of being a productive agent and then just help coach, training, and lead agents in helping them be successful. You're either going to help yourself become a really good real estate agent at a high production, keep a lot of money, by the way, or scale that business. Most people do it for a quality of life, right?
Or the hopes of that.
Or the hopes of that. And I I did it for that reason. I liked listing houses. It was to me, it was like an adrenaline thing. I loved going on listing appointments and walking out with it signed. But when the team started growing organically, because I wasn't recruiting, I had found myself with another responsibility. I had to support these agents. And if you're out hustling as a listing agent, you can't support, more than like a couple agents before they're going to start to need you more, and you're not going to be there because you're out doing what you need to be doing. So that's that catch-22. You either keep it nice and tight, or you got to go big. There's the middle ground is where shit gets scary.
Yeah, it's a difficult transition, and this is where we ended up coaching a lot of people at this stage. And you want to get the buyers off your plate because god dang, I'm tired of putting buyers in the car. So you're doing well, and you got plenty of listing app opportunities, and you could be doing more of that, but you got these buyers that are always at your heels that you're having to show, and show on the weekends and the evenings, and they take away from quality of life. So the thought is, I'm going to get a buyer agent or two and start building a team. And the reality is that's that you just signed up for a new job, and it's called babysitter and trainer and sales recruiter, because once you start recruiting, you never want to go back to having to show houses again. So if you lose one, you got to be always recruiting, and you have all this other responsibility. Every deal they do, they want you to help them with in the beginning for sure. And so that there's all that so you actually don't become more profitable, and because you gave them deals that you would have normally done yourself because you're trying to help them get going and get started, and you didn't want to put buyers in the car in the first place, you're actually giving away half the revenue. So you actually start to be less profitable for a time, and then then it starts to shift over if you get it dialed in. So
and there's one other thing, you're training them to be like baby birds, and they're not able to close an appointment on their own when they're handed everything. That's right.
That's a depth, yeah, right. And then you got to tell them that's like when the dog you let the dog come in and pee all over the carpet everywhere, and then all of a sudden you expect it to go outside and pee when you open the door. That ain't gonna work. That dog's gonna piss everywhere, and it's never gonna clean. It's never gonna just go outside and train itself. So you're gonna be training that dog.
How did I know you were gonna figure a way out to bring a urine or a feces analogy? It always comes to a bodily fluid with you.
It's that or children. It's that or it's a daycare, right? So but that's the truth, right? So that's a very good thing. Here's the thing. The other thing is you didn't you became a team, and let me tell you what I hope everybody understands this. You might say I'm not a recruiter. I'm not that's my value proposition is what I'm doing for my clients. Bullshit. The minute you hire an agent, you became a recruiting based company. Now you have to have a value proposition for your agents. And if it's just giving them leads, then you're not doing something that's sustainable. That is not a value proposition that works. And you're never going to attract talent, which is what we all want to attract is talent. You're never going to get talent because they're never going to come work for you to be a buyer agent. And what do? We try to get them all to work for us as buyer agents and listen. Oh, you got a listing? Well, give that to me. Give it here. Give it over here. Come on. Give me that listing. You can't take that listing. I don't want you to do that shit because then you'll be out going on your own. So we really
that's that old model, right?
That's that old model. This was not a conscious business model decision. It was out of necessity as we grew, but the compensation isn't in alignment. Hey, I'm going to give you half the money for you to go work the deal. And I want you to be bought into the company's vision and what we're trying to do to be profitable. Let me tell you what they wake up thinking about. They think about themselves and their money. They ain't thinking about the company's money. They are not in alignment with the vision that you have for the company. As much as they might say, okay, yep, okay, all right, yep, I'm with you, I'm on board. The first thing they think about is how am I paying my bills. There's a misalignment in compensation out of the gate. So that's the reasons that agents leave. Okay, so what's and we've talked a little bit, I think, about, going to that first buyer agent and not realizing, you broke down the math earlier, Al, those first buyer agents you bring on, you're given, let's say your operating cost was 25%, right? So go ahead and give that example of what, the difference in cash.
Yeah. I mean, this is what, at the time, I remember the day I was talking to John Kitchens, and he did this math for me because I wasn't, he was just looking out for me because we love each other. We're brothers, right? But and he lived it too. And running Jay Kinder team up in Oklahoma, is that when you're in full production, let's say that your operating costs are 25% of, your total. Okay. You're operating on 25%, meaning all your fixed monthly costs. If you have rent, if you have employees, the payroll taxes, anything you're spending on lead generation, let's say it equals out to be about 25% of every paycheck that rolls in. Which that means is if you do a deal and you're the listing agent, or you even do a buy side and you're the team leader, 75% is left over that goes right to the bottom line. So everybody got that math, right? Now, let's put an agent in place. Buyer's agent, listing agent, doesn't matter. Let's say, typically you pay them a 50% commission. Sometimes some people are doing less. Some are doing more, but let's just call it a 50% commission. Your 25% fixed cost doesn't go anywhere. You just raised your cost by another 50% for a total of 75%, and you only have now 25% hitting the bottom line. So look at the swing that just happened on cash that's hitting the bottom line when you step out of that production. It goes from 75% of the money earned on that deal going right to the bank account, which, by the way, is very easy to make work and be profitable, to 25% of the money now going to the bottom line, and try to make that profitable. Try to make that profitable in the first quarter. I don't know that I ever have. I mean, I write checks in that first quarter. I know someone that's watching this knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, I mean, it's just pain. It's pain. I'm passionate because I felt the pain.
Right. And we should make everybody raise their hand if they've had to write a check.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Al, even what you're talking about, one, if they're tracking, two, it's dang hard to keep all of those operating expenses if you're really being truthful to 25%, right? It's a lot for most. So when you really feel the brunt of that 50% or 60% or 70%, that they think that they have to give to keep somebody, then, that it all subtracts from the bottom line. And, it's that's
what does the Red Book say? What is their model? Is it 30?
I think it's 29.2, something like that.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So let's talk about the Red Book. Look, listen, this might piss a few people off, but hey, we're here being real. And I'll tell you what, there's a reason why the Red Book is red, because that is the communist team model right there. I mean, if you ever look at like what communism is, what is it? It's a repressive regime, right? It represses. So like your team members, I mean, I literally was invited by an OP here in my area to come to listen to Jenks. What's his first name? The co-author? David Jenks. He came to speak in the Cleveland area. I went to Middleburg Heights. I watched him, and I listened to his whole thing, and then these words literally came out of his mouth, okay? And he wrote the Red Book with Gary. He said, never let your buyer's agents or your listing agents on your team have a personal relationship beyond doing the deal, and that's it. Those are your relationships. You protect them. Don't let them do that. Don't let them put their name anywhere, brand it anywhere. Like, it's repressive. And they're basically saying that their average commission payout should be about 30%. Now, we've seen, I don't know, you probably looked at more business models than myself. I know John Kitchens probably has the record for all the badasses that he's coached. How many teams can sustain a 29% commission rate with their top agents who are doing 10 million, 9 million, 11 million? You ain't going to keep them at 29%. There's no damn way.
Not talent.
Ain't
not the kind
happening.
Of person not the kind of person that you can leave and never come back and worry. You know what I'm saying? Like every day you're going to live in fear.
That's it.
It's not sustainable. Bottom line, it's not sustainable. And we're talking about now. What we're talking about is stepping out of production. So you put an agent on a listing on listings now. In order to get listings at the pace that you get listings at, it's got to be a rock star. It's got to be an A player, and A players ain't going to hang around for 29% for very long. They're just not. And the risk is especially as they start to get referrals, and this was my experience, was after a while they started getting deals that weren't coming from us, and then we sit down and we say company generated business, agent generated business. Oh, it's 50-50 now. Now you did 6 deals, you're doing 6 deals a month, but I'm giving you half and you're getting half. that starts to get questionable as to whether is that fair? Is that now a fair deal, or should there be something different in the model? We're scared to death to try to say, well, how about this? Why don't we give you more money on your business you bring in and you get a higher split? We don't want to say that because you put the numbers into the model and now you're really running thin. And so we're scared to do it. We're scared to train them how to get listings. But let me tell you this. This is the other thing. Most of the same people that not the ones that get to 6 deals a month doing 3 on their own and 3 you give them, but I'm talking about the ones that only do 1.5. None of these people are the same people that you would invite to your house to hang out with on the weekends, right? They're just not. Not the ones that are stuck at 1.5 deals a month because they ain't like us. They ain't like none of us. So, but how do you shift your business model to be able to work with people that you would want to hang out with on the weekends, the people that hustle like you hustle, that learn like you learn, that grow like you grow? That's way more fulfilling. Now, take a step back out of your current situation of your team and say, okay, well, what would that look like? I would be teaching them. What would you be teaching that person if it worked in your business model? Well, I'd be teaching them everything I know. I'd be teaching them how to list. I'd be coaching them. I'd be coaching them. I'd be leading and coaching them.
I'd be saying, hey, you list that house, your name damn well better go on that sign.
Right. We got to help build your brand, right?
Yeah, build your brand. And I mean, that's what we started shifting to a couple of years ago with our team. Is the like, get your name on. I've been saying that for 6-7 years. Get your name on the sign. Get your name on the sign. Because I just didn't feel right about not saying don't put your name on the sign, because I would want my name. I remember the first year I got my real estate license, Century 21, didn't know what the hell I was doing. Someone just told me I should call expired listings, so I did it. Turned out I got like half a dozen listings. I didn't even have that many listings. And I started having people that knew me through social networks and whatever come up to me in 99 and 2000 and say, man, I'm seeing your signs. You must be doing good. That's called branding. And in the communist red book regime, they don't want you doing any branding if you're on if you're a team member. In fact, one of the OPs in my market even tells people, if you listen to this is a true statement. I swear to God. He says this: if you don't mind losing your identity for a couple years, you can jump on my team. Are you fucking kidding me right now? I'm not. I can't even make this up. That's so I've never bought into it. And you know,
I gotta be truthful. I bought into it. That's how it was in my office. It was communism. I was like, y'all want to put your name on the sign? Let me tell you what it costs a month to run this bitch. You can put your name on the sign when you can write a check for $100,000 a month. Until then, that's you're in my world. But I didn't know any better, right? That's what I was taught to do. That was what the red book said. It was what other people out there coaching was teaching. And there really wasn't a better way, to be quite honest.
Right.
But it does. I can attest to the fact that it doesn't work. It's not sustainable.
Well, you tried a couple different models. You even got your lead guy on a salary. Yeah. Paid him $50,000. You know, you want to chat about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we tried everything. Compensation drives behavior. I would just be careful of anything that you don't have alignment and compensation on. And, at the end of the day, it worked. I mean, it worked really well. We ultimately sold the company to that guy. And he runs it today. So, it worked as far as that goes, but let me tell you, it wasn't profitable enough. The opportunity in that company in Lawton, Oklahoma was not enough for me to say, I'm going to continue building and managing this, because it could have made plus or minus 10%, 15% profit, or 10 to 15% loss. And, the only people that are going to care about that are the people that are paid, are getting paid. And if it's not profitable, there's no profit share. So that doesn't work. And there's no, there's not an easy way to solve that without having your neck on the line with the business. And so, the best move for us was sell it. But, that was.
So when you how long ago did you sell it?
I don't know, John, how long has that been? A year, 2, year and a half?
2 years.
2 years now? So
we're coming up on our second year.
Right. And I'll say something else that a lot of people don't know, because I don't know if anybody else has done it. When I got out of the business in 2011, I didn't just step out of the listing side of the business and become the leader and the recruiter and the business development guy, which is what I would have done if I was staying a lot. And we were exploring, getting into commercial. We were doing developments. We were building houses. We were doing anything and everything else opportunity-wise. And that's where I was spending my time. And that's where we had John's focus too, is helping with those bigger opportunities. And that was kind of what I was doing. but I moved to Dallas, Texas. Okay. So when you step out of your real estate business and you think you stepped out, go ahead and step out and move to another city. Then you'll really know what you don't know about your business. At that point, everything tracking and everything reporting became the number one thing, because I couldn't possibly know. I mean, I'd be on the phone all day with John if I wanted to know all the metrics and numbers, if we couldn't build reporting that was going to tell us what we needed to know. And so, that was the first thing. But what I watched deteriorate, okay, and I mean deteriorate, was my brand in the marketplace. The fact that Jay Kinder was no longer running into people at Walmart, no longer running into people at the grocery store, no longer going to the Chamber of Commerce meetings, no longer involved in the community, no longer seen driving down the road, in a wrap vehicle. You did not see me ever again. And that is a true test to whether you had a brand or not. And I didn't have a brand. I had relationships, and those relationships was what that business was built on. And as I stepped away, we watched the production go down and down and down and down. And it hasn't ever gotten back to 500. Not to say that Reedy and Stace, because they rebranded it now, that they're not going to build their brands and be able to get to that stage. But I had to slowly, as my brand was diminishing, we had to brand them was the right strategy for them. And and if you think you think that you can step out of the business and out of the relationships in your business, and remove yourself completely, I'm just going to tell you right now, it won't sustain. It won't. You can try and try and try. We tried. I don't think anybody's tried harder than we've tried. And it's just not. So it's not sustainable, guys. And that's the magical word that I want you to.
Yeah, but y'all are still getting checks from there, right?
Well, yeah, because we sold it and they're paying us.
Right.
So there was a liquidation. The only option on the table was to sell it to them. To be honest with you, if they said no, we would have closed the doors. I mean, that's just the fact, because it wasn't worth our time. So we got a little bit for it, but it wasn't enough for me or John to retire on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't. I think our payments pays mighty. It don't pay my house payment. I know that. So it's not life changing money. And we spent 10 years building that company. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Longer than that. It's been 20 years. It's been in business now. So 20 years building it, and 18 years, I guess, before we sold it, 17 or 18. So, do you really think about that for a minute? Do you want to spend 17, 18 years of your life building something to sell it for the price that you can buy a small rental property in Texas? Is that the goal? Because that's not that wasn't what I thought I was doing. I can tell you that much. And
or what's the alternative?
Right. Maybe there's a better way. So
it might be.
Chris made a great point. Look at if anybody knows Kyle Whistle's story, right, is another great point. And you talk about us in a small price point market, and then you have somebody like Kyle when his average sales price is what, $750,000, if not $1 million, and it wasn't even enough for him, no value to make the move. So I mean, there's even another proof when you really look at it.
Well, Kyle had a business that was one of the top independent brokerages, very successful by anybody's imagination. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but he got offers for some big publicly traded real estate firms to buy him out, and had checks thrown at him, and the math just didn't make sense. So what did make sense is growing his business off of a different platform, off of a different model that is sustainable, and that at the end you actually have something to show for it. So anyways.
Right. So that's the point. So let's look at, and this is really the EXP model, the old model, that's the old team model. And now let's look at the EXP business model and the value proposition and the problems that it solves, right? So let's tie that back to what problems are we solving at EXP? How is this making things better for you if you have a team? And, obviously the repressive regime
right.
of not having opportunity for people versus helping them get free, right? So you have a business model where they can earn stock and they can have an asset at the end of their career where they can earn revenue share just by telling their friends to come join the company, and you can help them with that. That's freedom. You can help people get free. I'm telling you, your buy rate.
USA.
So, this is like a Trump rally. So, but here's the thing. I know everybody that's watching this as a team still loves and cares about their agents. You're trying to solve it. The model's just broken and it doesn't work. So what's a better way is being in an environment where you have opportunity that they have actual opportunity. They have opportunity in just the revenue share and the stock that you can't provide them in your business model. Plain simple as that. It makes it easier to recruit and it makes them more likely to stay. Okay, that is 9 agents that you had before Al to 36. Okay, easier to recruit, makes them want to stay. So hopefully that you get it.
I just want to make a quick point here.
Right.
When I joined EXP, I had 9 agents. That was after my group of girls that I love. They're my sisters to this day. I'll see them tomorrow actually at Rock and Restock. Still love them to this day. Great relationship. I had 9 agents. There's a reason why I only had 9 to 12 agents. Is because I wasn't recruiting. I didn't have a great model to recruit to, and I didn't like chasing. The only difference, we were talking about this morning. I didn't get any younger. I didn't get any smarter. I didn't take some magic pill, and I certainly didn't get any better looking. In fact, I got more gray in the beard. But we went from 9 to 36 agents in 11 months, and it's all by attraction. It's attraction, not chasing. And I think that this is the biggest reason we wanted to share this story on here, was because the one thing that did change was the business model. And it didn't change just for me as a broker. It changed the game for my agents. That's the biggest thing I got to emphasize. If it doesn't work for the agents, it don't matter how good it is for the broker or for the team leader. If it doesn't give the opportunity, an equal opportunity for growth, well then you're gonna be on that treadmill. You're gonna be on the hamster wheel. You're gonna be losing them as fast as they're coming in, and that's kind of our point.
That is the whole point. So, the thing that we've identified, and I just want to recap for everybody in case you kind of missed it and just kind of connect the dots, or if you're just tuning in, is that the number one fundamental flaw that we've seen in masterminding over the last 7 years and working with agents across the country for even longer is that there has always been a lid on their opportunity. And it's what Jay was sharing with everybody just a few moments ago, a little bit earlier in the call, is that when they get to that about 3 years with you, anywhere from 3 to 5 years with you, more of their business is coming from word of mouth and referral. And all of a sudden they start doing the math and they're like, shit, I could do half the number of deals and make more money, be a lot happier. That's when they start looking at other opportunities. So I just want to recap for everybody. That has been the number one constraint in the team model that we've identified over the last 8, 9, 10 years by really running hard with the traditional team model. So I just want to connect that. And Al nailed it just then. It's that their belief that they don't have any additional opportunity. And that's where the model comes in, so you can remove that belief of theirs.
Yeah, and second of all, you ain't even, the talent that you've been able to currently attract is somewhat limited in the fact that you were able to get them in the first place. So, that you had to catch emerging talent, somebody, or you had to help, you had to create, you had to lead them to a point that, you had to train them, that you got somebody that's raw talent that was untrained, and you had to train them up. And so you put a lot of time and effort in that person that's an A player that's doing really well for you. But, you got to look at lifestyle. And we all have that one that's going burning the candle at both ends, and they closed 8 this month, and they're like, they just leave the country for like 2 weeks, right? You can't find them. Like, what happened to you? They're burning out, and they know that they don't want to. If I just had to do 1 a week instead of 2 a week to make the same money, man, it's hard not to buy into that. At least the hope that it might be better, right? So we know that we do a lot for them and things of that nature. But the truth is, at that stage, wouldn't it be nice if you could say, hey, listen, man, you're doing a great job. Your split should be 75-25 on the deals you do. And, we're going to get you. Now I'm going to help you. Now I'm going to start coaching you every week. I'm going to start helping you build your brand. It's time for you to take on. And I'm going to show you the way. Now, instead of – and now if you can paint that picture in the beginning when you're working with them, listen, I'm going to take you to here, and then I'm going to take you to here, and then I'm going to coach you to here, right? And now there's this ascension path and this alignment, and they see the right place. This person's done what I'm trying to do. I'm going to come under your wings for a period of time, and then I'm going to move on. Some people will never leave underneath your wing. They'll fly with you till you die. They're ride or die. They don't want to be bigger than that. That's fine. Those people can stay. But you have a place for people to ascend and want to get to. for the ones that do. That's a big difference in this business model where you have revenue share that you still win and you can still help them build and help them build passive income, and you both win. It is pure alignment. And I'm telling you, want to talk about fulfillment, Al, the reason that you weren't recruiting wasn't because you couldn't recruit, and it might have been somewhat because you didn't want to recruit, but I think at the heart of the whole reason you weren't recruiting was because you knew it wasn't good for people. It wasn't what was best for them, and you wanted to find something better for them. Like that was, you know, it sucks to bring someone on and know that you can only listen. You're going to slave on, break these rocks every day. Here's your job. Here's your hammer. You can try to make it real sexy, but that's it. Call leads. That's what I got for you. That was our business model. We weren't teaching people to do the same thing we did to be successful. We were teaching them to do the shit we never wanted to do, which is bang on cold calls to leads. And now let me tell you what else changes in this model. And this is where I was the most wrong. Okay. Where I was the most wrong in the business model on teams. And we learned this just as we ascended in the type of agents we recruited to the brokerage in the last 3 years as we tested partner, is the splits. You know, obviously you have the ability to recruit agents on higher splits. You get agents that do deals on their own. Now what I thought was that, well, you're going to want us to do transaction coordination. You're going to want us to manage and put your deals in the MLS. You're going to want us to manage the files and do all that stuff. You're not going to want to, and you shouldn't do that stuff because it's $10 an hour work. Why would you not want us to do that? Let me tell you something. Talent says, give me that shit and let me do it. That's what talent says. They don't want you managing their shit. They want it just like I don't want somebody managing my stuff. I want to handle it myself. Let me get somebody. I'll hire someone. I'll delegate it. I don't want you to do that for me. Give me 75%. Give me a little higher split. That's what I want. Let me spend that money the way I want to. That's what talent says. So I thought all these years, I thought that they got so much value out of that. When we surveyed our agents and asked them, they were like, no, I can do that. I can handle that. They want to manage it. They'd rather have the money and the ability to invest their dollars into whatever they want to do, whether it's a full-time hire, which a lot of them need. First, they need a full-time hire before they need transaction management, and they need somebody to manage putting listings on MLS, which we're not even, those agents aren't even doing. Most agents aren't even doing that. They're just doing buyer deals.
Yeah.
You're really giving them transaction.
But you know where this comes from, Jay? It comes from the fact that, like, when we started growing our business, one of the first hires we made was an assistant to get the transaction stuff off our plate.
Right. You're 100% right.
Okay? Like, I mean, it's coming from our own personal experience, and it's coming from a good place because we want them to be able to do as good as us, and that's why we're offering them that assistance.
Right. But we didn't hire a full-time transaction coordinator first. We hired a catch-all. Right? That person's job was everything I didn't like doing. And that included a lot of shit that you don't have transaction coordination doing. Set my appointment for me. Hey, manage this file for me. Hey, put these photos on the MLS for me. Like, you had somebody that did all the stuff you didn't like doing. It wasn't just transaction management. And that's why the talent will say, listen, you don't need that. So we have these teams and we're like, well, we have all this, we have these people here anyways. Well, let's do that service for them. I'm telling you, you're going to lower your costs as you grow these agents. You're going to, instead of duplication, we had 2 transaction coordinators doing 531 deals a year. We had 2, like when it slowed down and we only needed 1, we're still paying for 2. And you're always dealing with this. You got more labor dollar than you really need in the worst months of the year, and you can't fire them and then retrain them every year. So you've got this bloated budget that again is always pushing pressure on the bottom line. So that's that. So here's what I would say, to kind of wrap this up, to be able to work with people that you want to work with on a daily basis, add value to their lives, create an opportunity that didn't exist before in your business, and be able to talk to people that you've never been able to talk to recruit to your team or to recruit into EXP. You've opened the gates to work with a whole different class of people that you never could have really talked to before, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And to me, we're not just in the business of serving real estate clients. At this stage of the business, if this is where you're at, you are in the business of serving your agents, and your business model is recruiting. I don't care who you are. You can tell me you're not a recruiter, but your ass is a recruiter. That's what your job is. When you step out of production, you stepped into 2 roles that matter. 3, really. You stepped into the role of marketing, because you should never turn loose of marketing. You stepped into the role of sales management, which also includes recruiting. And you are in the leadership role of leading leaders within your company. That's your job. And you step out of any one of those boxes and your business isn't sustainable. And if you hire someone for any one of those 3 roles and let them own it, you better get the right hire, because it's likely not going to be, it's not going to be as good as you doing it. So there's that huge risk of trying to step further away from some of those key roles and leading some of those key people. So that's at the end of the day, that's it. You have a value proposition now that can attract talent at EXP that you don't have where you currently are. And, you're building an asset. At the end of the day, these are all the reasons why it's for your agent. But the reason that, we didn't just move to EXP because we knew revenue share was going to be phenomenal for us, which it has been. We knew that the stock was a great thing. We knew this was a great company. We knew this was the right platform. We did it because we knew it's what's best for the agent. If it wasn't best for the agent, it doesn't work. We've learned that lesson. So,
yeah. And if you're a team leader and you're listening to this right now, you need to make sure that the value is visible. Make sure that the value of the revenue share is visible. Make sure that they know that this is another opportunity. Because I'll tell you this, what Gary Keller did nail was that only one pillar of income, doesn't cut it, because the only way to make more money is to sell more houses. They nailed it with they're doing it off of profit share. Well, the only other company who's nailed it better is us at EXP, because there's no more opportunity. You're not going to be able to have the opportunity of bringing agents on at a rate that we're bringing on at EXP. Plus, the profit share is not. It's like translucent. You don't know whether it's even going to be there on a month-to-month, even if you have 15, 20, 30, 40 agents.
It's not even real. It's not
real
opportunity.
I think that the lesson I'm saying is make sure that your folks are engaged. Our job is to make sure that, we brought them here. I tell my agents this all the time. I say, look, we did not join this company because of the technology. We did not join this company because it was a cloud brokerage. We got an office. The training, it's pretty good, but I don't think that was the reason why we joined the company, because the compensation to the agents in alignment with the company. They nailed the compensation. And when you nail that compensation alignment, it takes care of itself. You attract, not chase. You can attract good people versus chase them down. Right now, I'm sitting at this Coastal Taco, and there's a young lady that's sitting right over there, and we're about to have a meeting. And guess what that meeting's about? EXP.
Tacos.
And it's not going to be about tacos. I just had 4 tacos, and they were delicious. But, and her partner in crime just showed up. And so I'm actually going to 10-4 out of here, but here's the deal. They called me. Here's another good point. Okay, they called me and said, hey, let's meet at Coastal Tacos, and we're ready to talk about EXP.
Hey, Al, will you send me that ad that you ran for that appointment, please? Will you send me the ad that you ran? What was the copy you used on that? Right?
Yeah.
That's the life we used to live. How about a little bit of attraction? Amen.
Hey, if you want to see the ad, Jay, just look on my Facebook wall and just pull up all the live videos.
Right. Exactly. It's a better
Get out there.
Guys. It's a better
content strategy. That's a whole nother.
Right. And yeah, there's 2 more things, and I know you got to go out. I want to finish up on. There's a couple things, and anybody who's watching this video, which you're going to have questions about how you lay out compensation for your agents, and make the move to EXP. That's the big question that most people would have. We're actually doing this call right now with most of the agents that are already in EXP. But there's several ways that you can do compensation. I will tell you this: that for the large majority, the simplest answer that I can give is that your agents will see the value, and they will be happy. They will happily pay the cap, and you can give them some additional compensation on agent generated business and incentivize the A players to go be A players. That is the easiest, least costly, best way to structure it in a simple format for me. Just not to get into a whole lot of detail. We'll maybe do another video, or you can send us a message, and we'll happily do that. You can find me or Al easily on Facebook, and just hit us with the messenger comment, or find us. We're easy. I think my phone number is everywhere at this point.
I think what we got to do is put a slideshow presentation together on different ways to structure the team. And coming in and building it. I think the biggest lesson I want everyone to take away from this is that the danger zone happens after you cross maybe 5 agents on your team, all the way to that probably 12 to 15 area. I would call that the danger zone, because your expenses start going up because you need to start adding more labor dollars, okay? You probably have to start paying for more leads. Yet you in order to remain really, really profitable, you need to be out there hitting it, closing deals. So make a decision. Let's stay in here. or if you're going to end up going big, go big, but understand that you have a recruiting model, and things do get easier when you cross the 25, 30, 35 agents. I'm not suggesting that to anybody. This kind of happened. The way I look at my team is my team serves a purpose. The team serves a purpose. It serves the agents who need that extra. They need the extra leads. They need the leadership. They need the
springboard, right? Like
they need a springboard. They like the camaraderie. I mean, it serves a purpose in the market,
right?
And that's what the team does,
right?
And
they need that energy. They need that accountability. Yeah. They need that until they get to a point where they don't, and that's
right.
Them are not at the point where they don't need that at this stage, right?
But it serves a purpose to ramp people up, you know.
And I believe the future measurement of success under this new model is the success of the agents that you are moving up in the system as opposed to holding back in the system.
Right.
Like the thing that excites me is how much more fulfilling is your day when you get to celebrate the move to somebody going to a full cap agent at EXP. How much more fulfilling is that every day waking up knowing you're changing their lives, but you're changing their lives in a way that we all win together, not you go out, graduate, and go leave off and go somewhere else.
And it doesn't take you to the poorhouse when that happens.
Right.
That's
because you're always worried about the money. You can never truly celebrate the success that they're having. You say it begrudgingly as they're leaving you. But it's not congruent, man. You got to see that. And so for the last thing I'll say, if you're not at EXP today and, the bullshit story that is being sold to you is how to sell more houses. That's what's being sold to you is how do you sell more houses? Go sell more houses. Go sell more houses. It's not artificial intelligence doesn't fix the model. 100% commission doesn't fix the model. Working harder every day doesn't fix the model. Having an amazing culture like we thought it was 10 times in a row doesn't fix the model.
You mean Kel's ain't going to put more money in my pocket?
No, and putting your head in the sand doesn't fix the model either. So pay attention. Hopefully this was in your face enough. And again, I'm not talking to those of you who joined us. I'm talking to those of you who may be watching this that are watching this video after we've done it. And I think we're also broadcasting live on Facebook. But that is what you have to understand is that none of the stuff that's out there today fixes the model. EXP fixes the model. It gives you the right platform to build what you want to build and to move to the stage of your career that you want to get to if you're building a big team or if you're an independent brokerage even. So hopefully we made that clear, man. I don't know if we did or not, but we gave it a hell of a try. So John, what is there anything we haven't touched on or any?
Yeah, I think two things. One that really stood out. And Al, I was talking with Joel yesterday about this. I was like, man, I said the progression that you have to get excited about is how do you move quarter half cappers to icons, right? That's got to be your measurement. That's
baby.
How fast am I moving half cappers to icons? And that's what you want to develop, right? That's the training, everything that you want to do. And I was like, Joel, you want to be known as the guy that has moved more half cappers to icons than anybody in the EXP organization. And it lit him up, right? He got it. And then I think the other threat that you were talking about, Al, is, within the compensation that a lot of people get tripped up on is what is the compensation that you're paying yourself, right? And that's definitely something that we can help with. Because as you pull yourself out of production, you've got to make sure that your compensation's in alignment or it will mess everything up as well. So just another key of an awareness there to what you're paying yourself.
I think if that's your metric, you're going to leave a legacy. That's what you're going to build. You're going to build a legacy. I just believe that.
Right.
So yeah. Awesome, man.
Great stuff.
You'll be looked at as an icon.
Icon, baby.
Sure.
Icon living.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys both so much for jumping on and really being expert mentors and helping everybody out today. And, for all of you guys that are on the call or listening to the recording, make sure you please share some love and then also share any of your big takeaways. We'll get this call pulled down and repost it into the Honey Badger and Fast Forward movement. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys. And anybody listening, if you really feel like, man, I would love to be an expert mentor and add value to the group, hit me up, and we would love to get you into the lineup and get you on the show.
Love it. Great
Sweet.
job, John.
Awesome.
Later.
Thanks,
Appreciate
fellas.
you, Al.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks, John.
See you, brother.
See you at the top.
Later, man.